All right. Creature Commandos.
Oh boy.
You know what? I am not about to spend a great amount of time on this. I'm gonna go ahead and put my thoughts on this first here. The numbers are bullshit. They think these numbers are these they think these numbers are something they are not, and I don't think they know math. I think they need to go back to school for some math because they don't understand what viewing numbers are to actual subscribe. They just don't know. What do y'all think?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the impression I got as well. Based on the comparisons that are being made on social media right now by people who are not being blinded by all this. It's very clear to me that there's some inflation going on. There's some manipulation going on. They want this to be perceived as a success, but I'm not entirely sure that it is. Outside of the handful of people who just shill for everything James Gunn, I haven't really seen anybody talk about the show. If I'm being honest.
I haven't even watched it, bro.
I watched 2 episodes.
Nope.
That was it. That's all I did.
Good.
I gave it an opportunity. It didn't do anything for me, and so I said I'm done. That was it. Like I'm willing to give everything an opportunity. I tell that to people all the time, even if not necessarily a fan of James Gunn's work most of the time. I'm willing to give him an opportunity to impress me.
You know what? For me, it wasn't about giving him the opportunity. It's that my time is precious. I have very little time. And if I'm going to dedicate my time to a television show, I want to know that show's good. And from everything I've seen online, from all the banter, all the talk, all the tweets, all the spoilers that got out there, all the everything, it's like, you know what? It's not for me. This is not what I want from DC. So I'm not going to support it.
Just a strange way to start your
universe. Yep.
I don't know what he was. I mean, I know what he was thinking. This is in his wheelhouse, so it's like it makes sense for him to want to do Creature Commandos.
You know, but wouldn't it have been different if it was live action? Like, don't you think if they had done?
But even so, it's not the right.
No, but it's what he's good with, like taking that niche, those unknown characters, like the Guardians. Like if he had said Creature Commandos is going to how we're going to start the DC universe, and he had done a live action interpretation, I think it would be a bit easier to get behind than an animated show.
Well, WB wasn't putting up.
Look, let me tell you something, man. I would accept homie.
They were putting up money for no food.
I would accept him as an Elseworlds guy. I wouldn't fire him. But what I would do is I'd switch that shit around. I'd be like, yo, your shit's not mainlining this continuity at all. I'll throw you in Elseworlds. You still want to work here? You still want your characters known? Fine. I'll go ahead and give you your second-rate, third-rate, fourth-rate characters. Have at it. But you are not headlining. You're not going to be in the main continuity.
Honestly, Charles, at this point, I don't even think they have the budget for Elseworlds. I just don't think they can afford it. Because I think if they could afford it, they would have done it.
Prior to Gunn being hired, I was the one. My opinion, I said they should have just did all Elseworlds, like no connected universe at all.
Like, you just would have had like your single story film.
And I think DC
standalone
thrives with standalone stories. I don't think it needs to be connected. I think there's enough characters, there's enough stories in the DC universe to where you can you could give a talented director free reign to do whatever he wants with a character like Green Lantern or this or that, and just have people kind of put their own fresh interpretations on the character. Like, let Matt Reeves continue doing what he's doing. Like, you know what I mean? I used to say let Todd Phillips do what he's doing, but not anymore. During Joker 1, let Todd Phillips do what he's doing. Joker 2, not so much. But I think that DC thrives with the Elseworlds stuff. Like, I'm all on board with them going back to standalone movies, standalone trilogies. Like, I'm so tired.
Do you think the audience would get behind that though? Because like I think what it is for a lot of comic book audience now, like I'm not even talking about general audience, I'm talking about the comic book audience. When there isn't a big payoff, like a connected universe, you know, like, oh my God, I'm gonna watch this movie, and now these characters are gonna cross over and they're gonna be spectacular. You know what I mean? When they don't have that payoff, I just feel like it doesn't bring in. I just don't think the audience might accept it as much.
It's possible. It's entirely possible that the MCU has kind of programmed people to think that way. I think in a weird sort of way. Like
when it comes to comic book films, yes.
When it comes to movies, like that's how it's supposed to be. I don't personally feel that way. To me, the first Joker, I like the Batman. I know some people don't, but I know I do.
I did too.
Christopher Nolan's trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's where DC shines, in my opinion. Again, I always say this on my channel, and I believe it's, I think shared universes are a burden on creativity, because I think it puts creatives in a certain box. You have to work within these confines. You have to make everything fit. You have to make everything make sense. And I just don't find that interesting as a film lover.
And writers pros are different. Your pros might be different from mine. You're trying to fit that together in one. I think that's why Marvel is having so many problems, dude. Is they got like all of these writers, and they all have their different interpretations on what to
and their
put in that.
Continuity's all jacked up too. Like
it's screwed up. Yeah,
yeah, but Like it gets to a point where it gets so muddled that shared universe don't even mean anything anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I want to avoid. Like, to me, I grew up on just standalone, comic book movies, and I just think that's DC's bread and butter.
So you'd be good with them building up like the singular IP. So we're going to do the Batman. We'll do 3 the Batman movies. We'll do a Green Lantern. We might do 3 Green Lantern. Yeah.
That's what I think.
And then we'll do a Justice League or a Green Lantern event. Right.
You could do, like, if you really wanted to tie it all together at some point, do a Crisis on Infinite Earths type thing and bring it all together that way. You know what I mean? But make it standalone initially. Like, no crossover, just all self-contained stories. You know what I mean? I think that's I just find that infinitely more interesting. I think when you do the shared
make that story not connected to anything they did. Just if you're gonna make, like, when you bring them together, make it a completely separate story, then
exactly.
See, and I'm gonna bring it back to Zack Snyder with his DC stuff. In my opinion, his stuff should not be considered connected to the rest of the DC universe.
I agree.
His 3 films were his standalones. You had his standalone Superman, Batman BVS, and then Justice League. That was his standalone trilogy. You know what I'm saying? I understand what you're saying. I totally get that. You could have great stories told within that one singular IP, or you do it like the way Zach did it. I get that.
And Zach is a great example, because to me, I agree. Like, when I say the Snyderverse, I'm basically talking about 3 movies.
3 movies, yeah.
But he gets tied in with all those other movies.
Yes.
And that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, it muddles the message a little bit, because it's like those movies aren't his. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's like when I tell people, "Hey, have you watched the DC films?" I'm like, I've seen some of them. It's like, well, you need to watch just these 3. Don't worry about everything. You just got to watch these 3. These are the ones that matter.
Exactly. I mean, if you wanted to consider like Wonder Woman and Aquaman 1 as like a slightly
Wonder Woman, I'll put in there. Aquaman 1, to me, there's too much. And this is just me nitpicking.
It's very marbleized.
It's not even that. There's too many differences between Zach's version of Aquaman.
There is,
and the world that he established for Aquaman.
Yeah,
like to me, I loved that whole thing where when they talked underwater, that bubble, they had that bubble form, and it's like they could actually communicate. Whereas with what they did with Aquaman the movie, it's like they were just talking. I'm like, that's lame, man. Like,
I'm talking about.
Demi Ray, I feel you. Yeah, Demi Ray, I feel you. This dude is. I know. I'm 100%, man. He is okay. It's his ego. That's all I can tell you, man.
And again,
this guy is gonna.
If they came out and said, "Oh, this is a standalone Clayface story and an Elseworlds," like they did with the original Joker film, I'd be like, "Okay, fine."
Could get behind that.
That doesn't appear to be what it is, though. It sounds like they're doing a Clayface movie, and I've even heard that it could possibly be attached to the Batman. So you're getting.
I heard that too. See, originally what I was hearing was there were rumors that Clayface was going to be the villain for the Batman too.
I heard the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, and now that's completely changed up. So what I'm thinking is going on is I think Gunn wants Clayface in his DCU. That's what I think.
Because he already had him in Creature Commandos. So.
Because they were also talking back a little while back about doing an Arkham Asylum TV show.
Yeah, I do remember.
Which that Arkham Asylum TV show, when it was announced, was supposed to take place within the Batman universe.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure maybe longer than a few months ago, it's been a while, but they ended up saying that, oh no, this is now a part of the DCU.
Yep.
So I feel like Gunn is taking what he wants. He's just taking and taking and taking. So
which is another.
All right.
product of basically meddling in the creative process. That's what it feels like. Like just taking ideas. It's shameful, really. Like I can't get on board with it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna read this. I got a $10 super chat from the Curly Ray.
Curly
Thank you so
Ray.
much, brother. The excuse for Creature Commandos viewership is that it's a cartoon and it only should be compared to a cartoon, but this cartoon is the start of your new cinematic
exactly
universe. So
thank you,
quick,
Curly Ray.
what we are talking about, that's exactly what we're talking about. Stop making excuses like that. If you want, first is Creature Commandos, then it's this movie, then it's that movie.
Wasn't it like Blue Beetle? Wasn't Blue Beetle actually the first one?
No, he's the first character. And also, like, bruh, stop with all of the word games, man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just convoluted and it's a bunch of crap. Exactly that. Thank you for the super chat, Curly Ray. I am going to give you a drop here, sir. Give me just a second.
Hit him with
rule of Wall Street. Nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. Least of all stockbrokers. Right? It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
No, fugazi. It's fake.
Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi. It's a woozy. It's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
It's a wazzy, it's a woosy, it's poof, it's WB. They're gone in the next couple of years.
Exactly. You see these Creature Commando numbers?
Wow. That's their whole philosophy right there. I never thought about that line that way, but it makes a lot of sense. I might have to start using that clip, I think.
Glad we were inspiring you, bro.
Yes.